Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
It is Saturday. I'm happy it's Saturday.
Oh, me too. Me too. End of the school year. We already talked about this a little bit off camera, but the end of school year, it's a lot.
It is a lot for teachers. It also is a lot for parents. Like, I can't tell you how many end of the year concerts I've gone to this week.
Yes. Same.
So many that I'm tired. I forget. That's right. You have to go through a lot of them. So many that I'm tired.
Yeah.
I think, well, not think. I know we went to Annabeth's on Tuesday, and it was delightful. And I remember walking out with my husband. I'm like, oh, thank goodness tomorrow's Friday. And he's like, Carrie, it's only Tuesday. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, oh goodness me, this is going to be a long week.
You know what's funny is I had a similar incident on Tuesday, and I was like, man, I'm glad the week's almost over. And I was like, it's not almost over. We still have a lot of week to go.
Yes.
Well, it was Teacher Appreciation Week though. So
it was. And that was wonderful. My school does a nice job of making us feel special. So that was nice. It's always nice not to have to plan lunches.
Yes, we had some lunches, we had some goodies. Our school, this is my first year in this school, and they did a really good job with teacher appreciation as well. Our PTA was great at supporting us and some of our local businesses. So it's nice to see the community come around our teachers.
That is fun. It also the end of the year, this year for some of my students is harder than it has been in the past. Usually my students are more independent and my job starts to stop, because they've known the routine and the learning. And this year it's just not happening like that. But it is fun to remember to have fun at the end of the year. And my co-teacher, my co-partner, we teach the same program, and I this year decided for the last 2 weeks we'd have these envelopes with question marks on them with special, just fun things to do for that day. And so that ended up being the kids really liked it. Like yesterday was snack and learn. So we, sent home their permission slips. So the kids had popcorn and candy while they were working. And then we did a teacher swap where she and I swapped classrooms and taught different lessons. That was fun too. So those little things, it's fun to remember that you can have traditions and things at the end of the year that make learning special and also get us through it, right?
Yeah. Also true. Also true. Well, there's another teacher that I would like to appreciate today, and it's our guest.
Yes, who also makes learning special.
Who also makes learning very special. That is correct. So our guest today has served education for over 20 years. She is passionate about digital access, universal design for learning, creativity in the classroom, coaching teachers, advocacy for cystic fibrosis, and cheese.
Yes.
She is currently a STEM coach at Prince William County Schools in Virginia. She's earned many awards, so many that I couldn't list here, but one of them, the Virginia ISTE Affiliate Tech Coach of the Year. She has also been named Teacher of the Year by her district in the past. So she shares her knowledge and passion at conferences and on social media, and does such an amazing job with it. So I am so excited to doodle and chat and learn all about Katie Fielding today.
I know. I'm so excited too. We get to know her.
Yes.
Hey guys. Thanks
Hello.
for having me. I'm so excited to hang out and chat today.
We're so excited too. I've been following you from afar for a really long time. I remember when I was telling me, I'm like, I think we should ask Katie. I don't know her because I've known air quote known other people in the past or Mandi and I usually do. But it's fun where it's kind of like we're in this uncomfortable stage, but fun stage of Doodle and Chat where most of the people that we know, really like the friends that love you, have been on, right? Yeah. And then the people that kind of know you have been on, and so now we're welcoming strangers. But it's fun too.
I'm so excited. I'm so honored to have been invited, and I'm excited to chat and try my hand at doodling. Now, I'll be the first to say that this is not my top creative skill, but I'm going to play today. So we'll see.
I love it. I love it. So Katie knows, I think Katie knows a little bit about what she's getting into, but anybody else who's here with us, joining us, we have with us the bowl that knows, and we call it the bowl that knows because it always seems to give us just the right question for the person that's on with us or the friend that's on with us. And in the bowl are questions that have been written specially just for you, as well as a few sprinklings of random questions that even Mandi and I don't know about. So we're going to turn the cameras on so that we can doodle along, see where it takes us.
Sounds good.
All right, awesome.
I feel like it's kind of like a game show.
A little bit. Yeah. I don't know what we would parallel Doodle and Chat with, you know? I don't know. Just kind of random.
A good talk show.
Yeah, I mean, we say when we share out that it's a whole lot of who knows what fun, and we really do mean that because we really don't know. We really don't know what's going to happen.
You
But we
guys
kind of like that. What's that?
You guys are so good already. I see. I just have my graph paper here because I'm a STEM girly.
Fantastic.
I don't know if you can see, but I also have my grid turned on in the back. Now I can turn it off when I'm done, but I also will use graph paper for anything. I love graph paper. It is my go-to. I take my notes on it. I actually have some graph paper sticky notes that I actually take all my notes on just because I prefer graph paper.
And that's the math teacher in Mandi.
It is the math teacher in me. Yes, I was a math teacher for 22 years. So
you're a STEM girly too.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome.
All right, let's see what we have here. Let's start. How we're going to start this off.
All right.
Well, this is a good one. I hope I can read this name right. How did the 35 millimeter Mamiya your grandfather gave you change how you see and share the world?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is a great question. Oh, yeah. My grandfather, he gave me his Mamiya cameras when I was a teenage, them back in the 50s, and their film cameras, of course. Obviously, there wasn't digital cameras then. But yeah, I was always the kid when driving. My dad was in the military, just like my grandfather who gave it to me. And we did a lot of road trips between moves, a lot of trips with like our vacations were back to see our grandparents in my home state of Arkansas. And so I was always the kid looking out the window, observing the world, like with my map on my lap, looking to see what mile markers we were at. And so that camera, like I always had I had like a 110 film camera when I was younger as a kid. And so then like getting this, like what I thought was like it is a real camera was so exciting as like a teenager. And yeah, so all that like observing of the world that I was doing just with my eyes on road trips and out watching people just became like a little more formal and really as far as like my creative practice helped me capture just moments of observation that I had and wanted to keep. So to make it like even a little bit deeper, so I was born with cystic fibrosis, which is a lung disease, and you mentioned that I do a lot of advocacy for that. So I think that as like a kid or a teen with chronic illness, and time was very finite for me. I wasn't supposed to be alive to where I am right now. So I think I was just always trying to capture time and capture like the moments that were happening to me um, to hopefully like preserve them longer than, in a little bit morbid way than I thought I would be there. Um, so yeah, I think that's a lot of where like my photography, like passion for it was kind of capturing my own experiences and wanting to hold on to them. But then and kind of continued on as I started to travel extensively and to like being able to bring some of those moments back to family and friends to share.
I love it.
What about you? Do you guys like to do photography?
I do. I remember taking a photography class in high school and, learning how to develop the film and everything like that. And, learning about the shutter speeds and how you could adjust things. And as much as I love that phones do that for you now, because it makes it way easier,
Yeah.
there definitely is an art to it,
Yeah, I love it. I love going into the dark room. I even took like when I was in like my late 20s, I took several years of like adult ed extension classes at the local adult ed extension place and would go into the dark room and develop my own film and learned all of the dark room tricks of dodging and and how you could like how people were doing Photoshop before Photoshop exists, just in a dark room, was very cool to learn. And so yeah, like I think also from that experience, like I don't edit my photos a lot because they're mostly on film. And even still, when I do digital, I just kind of keep them raw and really try and focus on like capturing and framing the photo as good as well as possible so that a lot doesn't have to be done with it in the later process. Yeah.
So I took I took a photography class. I was in 4-H when I was younger. I share with people the story. Like, we lived on a farm. My dad really wanted me to show animals. I was not about that. And so I took literally every other class I could take instead of animals. And so I have a variety of experiences from 4-H because I took everything that didn't focus around animals. And
Yeah.
photography was one of them. So I took photography for a couple of years. I would like to say I was better at it than I am. I'm not. But it's something that I still enjoy doing. Like, I still like to take pictures. I'm sometimes disappointed though in the outcome that I get. My father-in-law is amazing at it. My brother-in-law is amazing at it. And so, you know, comparison is the thief of joy,
That
but
is
I still enjoy doing it. So
yes. I definitely think every family has that photography person or photography people who are the go-to. Okay, the shot, you're going to get the good shot for us.
that's
Right?
right. That's
And
right.
then the person like me is left out of the photos. But that's
Yep.
just a little side effect. Yeah.
Truth. Truth.
Yeah. Just a little side effect. But yeah, photography is fun. It's really fun to capture the world you experience um and look back on memories and things that you've and people. I like taking pictures of people and people you've encountered. Having photos of those things is nice.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It's and as we talk about like wrapping up the end of the school year, it's funny for me how teacher sharing on social media has kind of changed through the years, and I find myself sharing less, but then in that I find myself taking less photos of my classroom. And then this time of year comes around and I remind myself, even if it's just sharing within our family of students, right? That capturing those moments. And so now I'm going to have to remind myself again for next year that just capturing those moments, like you're saying, they're just really important because it gives us something communal to reflect on and celebrate, right?
Yeah, I mean, back, my first few years teaching, I didn't take a ton of photos at school
Mhm.
because my first year of teaching, I had what did I have? I had uh, a flip phone. I wasn't like carrying a camera with me
Right.
like we all do now. So I found some photos that I did take some of those first years, and it's very fun to see those kids and see, what even the classroom was like, 18, 20 years ago. It's those, yeah, it's nice to look back on photos and like capture and see the moments that were captured.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I don't think I've drawn a 35 millimeter film ever on a Doodle and Chat. That was fun.
Yeah, I get real nerdy with my film purchases too. And like there are some films, most people are like, oh yeah, Kodak. I was an Ilford and an Emma Ilford girl. And so Ilford, you can get it at specialty like photography shops. But I really liked this Ilford 50, which is a black and white film, and it's very like high contrast. So that's a really like another way if you do film photography to kind of like take it to a fun place is to just try different films. Um, and then there's some like coveted films that are really hard to get. And so you can get really nerdy on like the purchasing of film side. So that's something fun if you ever explore film photography.
I had no idea that you could purchase different films that had different effects on
I
things.
didn't either. That's cool.
Yeah, so they all have like an ISO number, which you're probably familiar with from your digital camera, the ISO, right? And so like an ISO of 50 is a lot different than a film that's like maybe a speed or ISO of like 2 or 300. And so yeah, it's going to let the light affect the film differently, and so you get a lot of different effects.
Awesome.
Cool.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
how hard is it to find, like, you can't just walk into your CVS anymore, right? And like just say, I want some film.
You cannot, no. So I think B&H is a great resource. It's like it's a store in New York City, but they also have a huge online presence.
Mhm.
And it's right next to Penn Station in New York. So in my 20s, I live in DC and I would take the bus up to New York off like a weekend a month and see my friends that were in New York and get off the bus, and right off the bus is B&H. And I would go in there, buy my film or get the film right before I go back to DC. So that was like my traditional stop, but you can definitely go and they have a huge selection online to get, but yeah.
Fun. Yeah, it just brings back memories about how easy it used to be. You would just go to Walgreens and get your film, right?
I know.
Not the same
Walmart.
anymore. Yeah,
Now
everywhere.
you have to send it off to get, to get developed.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's some great online spaces that again you can send it to, and they really will take care of, like, especially some of these special films. It's not just your run of the mill film. Like, they will do it right. And so if you do buy kind of those special films, you're going to want to find a place that's going to like develop it well. If
Interesting.
you're not doing it yourself. So
It's like that's a whole new rabbit hole.
yeah,
It is.
A
Yeah.
very dirty rabbit hole.
All right, pulled another question.
Okay.
This is a random one. What is one of your favorite smells?
Oh my gosh. So you know what? I don't have a great sense of smell, which is part of like CF, right?
Uh-huh.
'Cause I have a lot of sinus issues. I don't have a great like olfactory scent. So I would say food, any like pungent food is gonna be my favorite smell because I can smell it really well. Um, yeah, I don't even wear perfume because I wouldn't really even experience it. Um, but when I had a sinus surgery, I was probably 30, so this is probably 13 years ago. I had one of my first sinus surgeries because your sinuses, when you have polyps in your sinuses, there's all these mucus membranes that build up, and they basically go in and scrape them out. And I remember when they wake you up from surgery that you have to eat and drink something before you can leave. And they gave me apple juice. And I go, "Why did you give me concentrate?" I had never tasted, because your smell and your taste are so connected.
Yeah.
I had never tasted apple juice like I tasted apple juice that day. It was just like I had never had apple juice before in my life. And then so instantly I get home and I was like, "All right, I need salsa. Now I need to see like what salsa is really like." So yeah, I love I guess smell is so important because of the food connection, and I'm a big foodie. So yeah, my favorite smell food wise, I guess, would be anything fried. I mean, fried food is just the smells of that are gonna be the best. What about you? What are your favorite smells?
Coffee.
Coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do like the smell of it.
Oh, I like to drink it too.
No, I mean, and most people do.
I like to drink it too. Yeah, but I could like somebody's fixing coffee and it immediately makes me want to drink coffee.
I love citrus smells, like lemon and oranges. Like I love getting the soaps that all smell like that. That's always nice for me.
Do you like a bergamot?
I don't know what that is.
That's like it looks like a fancy citrus, I guess. I don't know. Um, but yeah, bergamot is a nice citrus smell. I like that one.
Yeah, so I'm pretty simple. Like just if we're getting hand soap, I prefer it to be citrus. If I'm getting cleaner, I prefer it to be citrus.
Hmm.
Um,
And so
yeah.
for cleaners and stuff, like I love in the winter when all of the peppermint smells come out because peppermint is also one of my favorite smells.
That is a good smell.
Yeah. So during the winter, I use peppermint lotion. My cleaners have a peppermint smell. And then we just use peppermint essential oil to help with our allergies and stuff year round. So
Nice.
really like that
Yeah,
one.
'cause I don't have like a huge sense of smell. My partner, he really picks all the scents in our house. So we do have peppermint soap, we have lavender soap, and then he loves like a woodsy candle. So
Oh, okay.
you
That
can
would be
smell.
a nice smell. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Yes. What about you, Carrie? Did you share your, oh, you did, your citrus. Yes.
I did. I think I like things to smell like summer and spring all the time, even if it's winter.
So is this your favorite time of the year?
The spring is, yeah, my favorite time of year for sure. Spring and fall. Anytime I can like snuggle up in a sweatshirt, nice cozy, not too cold, not too hot. That's my preference, the sweet spot of things.
I like that vibe as well. I like the cozy home vibe.
Yeah.
Windows open, wearing a sweatshirt. Yes.
Yes, agreed. Yes, a nice breeze for sure is always nice. I get sad when the sweatshirts have to start to go away. And that means I'm going to start to sweat a little bit. My students give me the hardest time because I keep my classroom warm enough in the wintertime that I can wear a short sleeve if I want to, but then cold enough if I want to wear a sweatshirt when it's warmer. They're like, it's so cold in here, Mrs. Baughcum. I said, that's because I'm wearing a sweatshirt and I'm not going to sweat. All right. The bowl has another question for us.
Okay.
Canvas certified educator, Adobe education leader, and Flipgrid certified level 2 are just a few of the endorsements you hold. What is your favorite part about learning and being part of these different communities?
Oh, yeah. Teachers are so amazing, right? And I love, like, I'm more of a teachers give teachers than a teachers pay teachers type of gal. And I just love exchanging ideas. I love creating resources. And now in my current role, I don't always have a classroom to use them in. So I love just creating things because they come to mind and sharing them. And I love when people share things in the communities and ideas and things that have worked for them. Because I think, teachers, we ultimately all are willing to try a lot of new things, try things to like engage our students, impact our students. Ultimately, that's our goal, right? And so, in any way that I can help another teacher do that, or they can help me do that, that's the best part of these communities. Also, just the relationship building is great. Yeah, that is, I think, the best part of those communities is just the exchange of people that have like this mutual common goal of having success for students and want to make that happen for other people. I think, right now, a lot of educators, we're feeling burnt out. And I think in any way that we can lift each other, share a resource, um, you know, do a webinar to educate another educator on something, that is just the most helpful thing about these communities, these educator communities. And that's what I've gotten from them. Which ones are you active in, and what are your takeaways from them?
So we're not as active on those communities as you are, but I do. But what you said did resonate with me in a couple of ways, and one is that those communities are so good at doing like call to actions to really get people involved. So they're creating something uniform, kind of like Mandi and I have been reflecting on this with a lot of educators lately, is kind of the death of Twitter and the loss of the death-ish. Like I'm still in there, I'm still in it for it, right? Even though I'm pretty sure it's never coming back the way it used to. But those communities are really good at kind of creating that feeling that educators loved, which was to be a part of something, to do it together, to see each other's ideas and reflect and support each other. And I think that's something that has started to die a little bit, right? Like this, like Mandi and I are totally teachers give teachers also, but it's hard to find a place to find the teachers to give to, and that's, I think, the new something we'll have to find. I'm talking in circles now, but something as educators, or us, I guess the three of us and other people, we have to find a place now where we can make those connections like we used to have, because we, like you know, found a great home in Twitter with other educators, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, I think about that a lot. I'm like, do I stay? Do I go? Are those people that I've been connecting with for years?
Yeah.
Um, and where can I get that experience? And I do get that experience in a lot of these communities. And I'm an ISTE certified educator. I love the ISTE Connect community because there's kind of something for everyone there. But I also really love my creative communities, and those creative tools that have them. Another one I love is Book Creator. They have a great community. I've
Mhm.
recently made some stuff for them, some STEM notebooks that I've been sharing. So yeah, I think these communities are a great opportunity for teachers uh, to to connect, but they do take work. So I think that's another thing to consider is like it's important to give as to get in these communities. And so I think people are a little gun shy of that. There's a lot of lurking, right? When you start kind of the social media
Yes.
teacher, and that's great. We want you to lurk. I want you to get stuff from me. But I also know that you probably have something amazing that maybe you're not even confident is amazing, but it probably is. And I want you to start sharing that. So that would be like the message that I would say is like, don't be afraid to start sharing. Because people want your ideas. Like every teacher has some, you didn't go into the classroom to just like use the textbook resources um and whatnot. I mean, on some days that's where you are, right? But on some days, every teacher is a creative person and every teacher is designing learning experiences. So I would say just don't be afraid to put yourself out there and put your creative uh, instructional design out for other people to learn from.
I love that reminder.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think teachers are not too different than teens and kids in the classroom and sharing their work, and sometimes they can be a little afraid. And so I say just don't be afraid. Just try and share.
So, one of the areas that you're in, you're a Google certified, you're an innovator, trainer, and coach. James, who is one of our guests joining us today, he and I were in the same Google Innovator cohort. And
Yes.
so, and he also said that he misses Twitter as well. James was very active on Twitter like the rest of us. And I think this is just a good example right here. James and I connected through the Google Innovator process
Mhm.
and still, lift each other up and support each other and do things like this. And I mean, James and I we'll talk at ISTE when we're both there, but we don't get to see each other that often other places. And that is what these communities do. You were talking about that. It brings people together that wouldn't be together. And I mean, I believe in it so much that that's what I wrote my dissertation on was social media and the impact that it has on teacher efficacy.
Wow.
And I am so sad that we haven't found that new space for it. Like almost a deep loss for me. Like I'm having a hard time overcoming the loss of Twitter and finding a space. Now, James said that he's on Facebook. That's an area that I have avoided for a very long time. And I think I'm going to have to go back to that space more of as an educator now because I miss the community so much. Like it is a hole inside of me that just hasn't been filled yet.
Yeah, I also was resistant to using Facebook for professional or teachery things. Um, I very much, for a long time, just kept it as my personal social
Mhm.
network space, and I was like, Twitter is the professional, and Instagram's kind of a mix of the two.
Yes.
And really, a lot of my like CF advocacy I was doing on Instagram, and so yeah, I was trying to kind of keep things like in different channels. But now I think things bleed over a lot more because a lot of these communities do have Facebook groups that they're utilizing for these spaces to share ideas. And So yeah, I don't know what our end goal is, or if it's just going to be just like everything. There's trends, and we can move from one spot to another, and so that's like, oh, the way of things, I guess. I mean, I remember my very first like social media. I was a Friendster user way back in the day. Did you guys ever hear of that one?
No.
I did. Yes.
Sure. And then there was MySpace.
Yeah.
And then then Facebook came onto the scene, and that one's definitely stuck around.
Sure.
And then Twitter. So yeah, it's we'll see what comes next, right? I think right now, short form video, Twitter or TikTok and Instagram Reels are
Yes.
definitely the dominant kind of getting the eyes right now.
Yeah.
But that makes it hard to connect, right?
Mhm.
To have more intimate back and forth. So it will be interesting to see where that kind of interaction lands.
I love your perspective. It seems like every person we talk to about this, because we find our people for Doodle and Chat I find them on Twitter, and I rely on those relationships, that I've built there to, to facilitate us meeting new people and inviting new friends on here. But it's fun to get everybody's insight, and I especially appreciate yours. I think you made a little bit more sense for me about it. I think when we started on Twitter as educators, we could kind of I love analogies. So you could kind of throw your line into the water and just see what you could pick up, right? And it was much easier to pick up good people because you learned about that. So you could just be very broad about where you fish. But from what I'm hearing you say, and it's kind of making sense to me, now you have to really pick your pool of where you want to go to and build those relationships. And it's just knowing what those spaces are, because from what I'm hearing, there are communities out there of people that are thriving. It's just you have to find that community in whatever space that you're in and really hang on tight to it. And I think that's what makes it more challenging, though, because as educators, I think we like to just go for it and see what's out there. We got lucky, and now it takes a little bit more effort.
It does, especially, and I think everyone also understands that we're all adults and we have different seasons of life, right?
Right.
And so there are going to be some weeks when you can be really engaged in those communities, and there's going to be months where you can't be. And I think that that's okay. You tap in when you can, and just hang back when you can't. But I would still just say, like, when you can tap in, like, make sure you're sharing as much as you're using and taking from others, and make sure you're being a good community participant when you feel able to.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think also the nice reminder that you also gave us too is that our ideas are valuable, no matter what our experience level is. I think that's also something that's shifted a little bit for some people is that it is important for us to share, and our ideas are important. And even if we think we've been doing it for 10 years, somebody out there, it's a new idea too.
Yes. And you guys are building a community here in this space, and that's really good too. And so, like, I also think that's an option. Like, if you can't find a community, build it.
True.
And that's what you guys are doing, and that's awesome.
Thank you. Yes, we're trying. So much goodness. I'm just soaking up all of Katie's right now in my mind. It's swimming around all the ideas.
Good. It's past my prime time. Are you guys morning people?
Yes.
I'm a 6 a.m.er. Like 6 a.m. I get my best ideas.
Agreed. I'm up early. Yes.
Yes.
Mandi texts me after I'm asleep sometimes.
Oh yeah. But she'll know she'll respond at 5 a.m.
That's right.
Like my friends. They're like, oh yeah, she'll get back to us at 4:30, 5 a.m.
Yes. Oh, I was hoping we would get this question.
Okay.
From Amtrak summer to traveling the world.
You guys do your research.
We do. We pride ourselves on doing our research. We like to
research. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
food, people, and memories are all part of your adventures.
Yes.
What has been your favorite food, your favorite place to visit, and your favorite memory? I know there's a lot
Yeah,
that
that's a
you're
lot.
gonna have to pick
Okay.
from.
I'm going to do my favorite place first,
Okay.
and that is Iceland.
Oh, wonderful.
I was an earth science teacher, but I taught her science, geology, oceanography, and Iceland is like the best of all of that in one. I also am I'm a pretty neat person, a neat and tidy person, and Iceland has those Scandinavian clean line vibes that places like Korea and Japan and all kind of the northern countries kind of have about them. And I am a very organized person, and so that kind of space makes me feel comfortable. So yeah, I would say Iceland is my favorite place I've ever traveled. I've been there 3 times.
Wow.
Inside volcanoes, I've climbed glaciers, I've driven around the island, I've gone on a trash boat to a smaller island. I say that because it's one little ferry. It's one ferry. It is not a true traveler's boat, right? So
Mhm.
that boat is carrying people that want to go to the island for the day. There's not a hotel on this island. Only about 20 people live there. And maybe a few more than 20. But it's a fishing island. And so on the boat with you is all the supplies that they might get for their little store and the one restaurant on the island. And then on the way back, you're taking all of their trash back. So
Ah.
it does, if you are like me and prone to seasickness, the combination of a ferry going through the rough northern waters and trash smells is not the best, but it was still super enjoyable. So yeah, Iceland is my top country. Top, what was it? There was
So
food and then there was moment, right?
yes.
Ooh, okay. Top moment. Oh, okay. I like to do like my favorite thing when I'm traveling is to do really normal life things. So I'd love to go to the grocery store when I'm traveling, and then I also like to get a haircut. So it just because like different places, it's a different experience. So I got my hair cut in South Korea, and because my hair is rather fair, he did not want to cut it at all. So, it was, I guess, fair hair would be aspirational there. And so he was like, I cannot, because I wanted several inches off, and he was not interested in doing that. But he did, because ultimately he wanted to serve the customer. So I think just those kind of everyday interactions, if you can put yourself more in uh, rather than a tourist, but like a traveler moment.
Okay.
I love those moments just to see how, the hair washing and hair cutting experience can like differ in different spaces, right? That's something I love. It's just the everyday differences and experiencing those. And so then my favorite food. Oh, I've eaten lots of really good food.
You do. It was a journey through some of your food things. It was wonderful. Like, and
Yeah.
you're very adventurous as well. It was delightful.
Yes, I've had the rotten shark in Iceland. I've had there's not very much that I don't eat except bananas. So
I did
banana.
not pick up on that. I did want ice cream many times
Oh yeah, I love.
while I was going through your Instagram.
I do not touch bananas. That is something they put my medicine in when I was a baby. So I'm very adverse to put bananas. But anything else, I will eat a zillion times. So it's kind of funny that I'll eat really, you know, things that many people wouldn't. But bananas, I'm like, no thanks. But yeah, favorite food is going to always be cheese. I am a big, as you said, cheese person. So I've never met a cheese that I didn't like. So yeah, that everywhere I go, I went just this past spring break, I went to Scotland and London. And I went to a place that had like a cheese conveyor belt, kind of like the sushi conveyor belts, but it was
Oh my
cheese.
gosh. Yes.
And that was my dream. Just all these little cheeses under glass spheres, just rolling by me. That's the dream, right? So that would be my favorite food. Cheese in any, but that one was magical for sure.
Yum.
What about you guys? Do you have a favorite food?
Can I say coffee again?
Yeah, you can. You have an intuition. You stick with it.
I like coffee gets me through the day. It's actually something I really enjoy. I love the smell, I love the taste. I love to talk to people about it. Like I could just build everything around coffee.
Now, are
Also,
you
probably because I have a lot of food aversions. I have a lot of foods I can't eat.
okay?
And so coffee, for the most part, is something there's little restriction for me on that. There's a lot of restriction on everything else in my life, food-wise. And so I think that's why I gravitate towards coffee. It just brings me joy
Do you
in a
like to
lot of
make it yourself, or do you like to go out for it?
um one of my food issues is dairy, and so I've gotten to where I really just prefer to have coffee at my house because I can make it the way I like it and sit and enjoy it. But I also like to meet friends for coffee. And, I like to go out and do that. I just find that I don't enjoy other people's coffee as much as I do my own.
Yeah,
So
I mean, a risk-free environment is always a comfortable place to eat.
that's right.
All right, awesome.
So fun. This is just a filled up paper of just so much different, so much fun,
good.
so much Katie. I love it.
It's really, really good.
Thank you. We've done it we do it a little bit. We just draw a little bit.
Oh, see, Kristen in the chat. She was one of my innovator colleagues.
We love Kristen.
Yes. Hi. Oh my gosh. Oh,
The innovator community for me, I tell people all the time, if you want one single event in my education career that really changed how I can relate with others and how I can help others, it was the Google Innovator community.
yes.
By far the most impactful thing in my educational career.
Yeah, I always say it was my best professional learning experience. Which cohort were you a member of?
We were Toronto 16.
Okay. I'm Denmark 18. So I even got to go. You got to go out of the country?
Yeah.
I got to go out of the country. Yeah, I think that was so great. When I went to Denmark, there was educators from all over the world and in the room, and just sharing the ideas and working on each other's problems, and trying to make school better for teachers and students, and was just so exciting. And finding my people, other people like me who Copenhagen, who just want to do good work, Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was such an empowering experience for sure. And that is a great community that I'm glad to be a part of.
That's awesome.
Me too.
Awesome. Well, the bowl does know, Katie. So May is Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month.
Yes,
Very timely that we had you here in May. Perfect accident, right? What do you want others to know about cystic fibrosis?
Oh, wow. This is definitely the topic I could talk on for forever. I love talking and advocating for cystic fibrosis. I'm fortunate that I get to talk at a med school every fall and be their patient, experience as far as CF learning goes. I am one of 70,000 people probably worldwide that has CF. and 40,000 in America. And when I was a kid, it was a childhood disease primarily thought of in the Caucasian community. And so that might be one of the first things I say is that CF is not just a white or Caucasian disease. I have friends that are Black, Asian, Hispanic, all all types of people can have cystic fibrosis. So that would be the first thing. It is not like just white people. And I say that because we know that for people of color, there are more inequities in health in general. And because often people might see the symptoms, and I actually have a friend who, when he was in his 40s, got diagnosed, he's Black, and doctors told him, if you were white, I'd say you have CF, but you're not. So that can't be it. Let's think about the 500 other things that it can. And now that diagnosis is delayed. And now getting real care is delayed. And feeling better is delayed. So that would be the first thing is if you have a baby, if you have a baby and they are, you know, exhibiting some of the symptoms of CF, failure to thrive, taste like salt. That's the old wives' tale. It could be CF. And now, fortunately, it's a birth screening. It's one of the many things that is screened at birth. It was not when I was born. But there are still also mutations that don't hit the screening, don't get screened for, so that you could still get a later diagnosis. But point is, for those people that are adults, maybe experiencing symptoms, and if you work in medical care, it could be CF. Don't like discount it because you're not white. And then the other thing is, I have been so fortunate to have experienced Trikafta, which is this amazing medicine that I started in 2019. And this medicine, it essentially fixes the issue at the cellular level. So my protein channels in my cellular membrane, you have these channels that are in your cell membrane, if you remember from like high school biology, and salt and other molecules go through them, these channels. Well, my channels are twisted. So salt chloride doesn't go through my channels properly. What this medicine essentially does is untwists my channels. And now the salt, sodium can move through properly. So now my cells function, as long as I'm taking this pill, as completely normal, which is amazing. But about 10% of people with cystic fibrosis have mutations that these medicines don't work for. For instance, there are some mutations where instead of like their channel being twisted, they just don't have channels. And that's not something you can really fix with the medication that's supposed to just like untwist a channel. Like you can't put something there that's not there.
Mhm.
So that would be what I'd say is yes, like there is a huge portion of the CF community that's like benefiting from these amazing medicines. And now our life expectancy as like a CF community for someone born today is in the 50s, which when I was born, it was 12. But there are still like fragile people and more vulnerable people in our communities, in my community, who these medicines don't work for. So we are still working for a cure. And the foundation's kind of motto is until it's done. And so until we have a cure, until it's done, we're going to keep advocating for better solutions and care in cystic fibrosis. My community, cystic fibrosis and amputees are kind of at the front line of the antibiotic resistant issue. So we get in our lungs, we get bacteria that grows that's very resistant to antibiotics. And people that are amputated also tend to get infections that are very resistant to antibiotics. So we're kind of like the canary in the coal mine populations for this thing, that there are lots of bacteria out there that can be very harmful, deadly, that will kill you and that we cannot kill with antibiotics. So we are looking, and scientists are looking for other options. A popular one that they're investigating right now is phage therapy, which are viruses that eat bacteria. And
Mm.
I've been fortunate to participate in a few medical studies for those. Because I am super fortunate and benefiting from Trikafta now, I like to participate in medical research so that I can benefit the rest of my community. So I often will do the safety phase of these drugs. And so it's just like maybe you'll take it once or twice and just make sure there's no bad side effects that would be super harmful. So, yeah, that's some of what I would say. But
Katie,
yeah,
I apologize for interrupting. I forgot to plug one of my computers in, so I want you to keep telling your story, but that's why I'm going to step off camera for just a second.
no worries. Yeah, no worries. Sure. Yeah, so that's what I would say. And so, yeah, thank you so much for asking that question this month. I'm always very glad to share my story, to advocate for my community, but also I like to do it at conferences, educational conferences, to advocate for all students in the classroom who have disabilities. And I like to share about ways teachers can make classrooms more accessible for all students. And so that's why I'm very I love UDL, Universal Design for Learning, as you mentioned, and I love teaching digital accessibility and helping teachers pick tools that are accessible for all of the students in their class to meet their needs so that students can feel empowered and excited to learn and not that there's a barrier um, in the tools that they're using in the classroom.
Yes, I love all of that you said. I am not as familiar with cystic fibrosis, and so I am super excited to have you share about cystic fibrosis. And I mean, I didn't realize that it was considered primarily white disease. So
Yeah,
I
like in most
all
of the
great things.
textbooks when, I was a kid or even now still, it's mostly represented by a white little kid in the book.
Yeah,
So we'd like to see more adults, more people of color in those photos, and
yeah.
the CF Foundation is doing a lot of work in that area in the stuff that they produce and making sure that the full spectrum of our community is represented in marketing and things like that. But yeah, the textbooks in your biology classroom, the little picture is probably a kid on his nebulizer machine and probably also using the nebulizer machine wrong. Which is so funny. Whenever we see like representations, people in our community are like, oh, well, that's funny that they are using it backwards.
Using it backwards.
The stock photo people are at it again.
Oh my goodness. So funny.
Yeah. Yes. That is, yeah. Thank you so much for asking about that.
Of course. It's a big part of who you are.
It is. It is like a very important part of who I am. And I thought about that a lot over the past 4 years since I've been on this drug because it's like, oh, now I've got quite a bit of health back. Now I'm going to retire. And I have to start planning for what I want, the rest of my work life to look like. Because, it's morbid, but previously my retirement plan was dying. And it's just a fact. And so now it's exciting that I get this opportunity to plan what I want to do for the next 20 years of work and then how I want to make an impact. And so, yeah, the accessibility for kids in the classroom is really where I want to make that impact.
I love it. Well, thank you for being keeping the show going while I was having technical difficulties. It's important, pro tip, to plug your laptops in when you're going to be on a live show so that one of your cameras doesn't, kaput on you.
Always.
So, funny story, I looked up just a minute ago and my battery on my laptop had also turned red, and I was like, "Why?" And it's because I also hadn't plugged mine in. Now, my cord was right there next to it because I always plug it in when I'm online just because my battery is sometimes unpredictable, and I just had forgotten to plug it in, so it's funny that both of us did that, so
I just, last week Katie, last week I unplugged our internet before, like 5 minutes before we were supposed to go on. Or was it? No, it was 2 weekends ago when we had another guest. I was like, come on, Carrie, let's go. We can do it.
Were you
What's that
cleaning
now?
and unplugged it or something?
No, I used my husband's charger to bring it to go into our basement when we do this show. And so it's right next to the plug for the internet. And I just didn't pay attention.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It happens. It happens.
It does.
Oh my gosh. Yes, it looks so good. Mine is not. Mine is very colorful. I went with the Mr. Sketch markers. I told you I could not draw.
You can draw. I love it. Like, there's cheese and there's your doodle experience.
Yes, and I put the lemons because Carrie loves a citrus. Yes, yes.
I love it. So I have to tell you, my daughter is home visiting and she just walked through, and I'm sad that she just missed that whole cystic fibrosis conversation because she is a doctor and I think would have loved to hear that entire conversation. So I'm going to play this back for her later so that she can hear everything that you said. She is a huge advocate for health like that as well. She is a family medicine doctor. And so
awesome.
she is all about keeping people healthy. She would like to do preventative medicine, but she is also an advocate for the marginalized populations. So I can't wait to play that back for her. I wish she had been down here when we were recording that. So
You don't look like you could have a daughter who'd be a full
Right?
Well, thank you so much. I have 4 adult children.
Oh my gosh. Oh
I
my
know
gosh.
my oldest one or my youngest one turns 21 this coming week.
Wow, good for you. What's your skincare routine? Can you share more?
Well, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. We'll say it's the lighting. We'll
Okay.
call it the lighting.
Okay. Fair enough.
She's being modest. She has great skin.
Yeah. It's very
Well,
good.
I will say, Mandi, in all the notes that we took on Katie, I'm sure that there's a couple connected to some of the work that she's done with the cystic fibrosis that you could share with your daughter.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Katie.
Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
It was just
yeah, this was so good. And you got me to doodle a little bit. Maybe I need to do this some more.
it's kind of like anything, right? Like once you get over that initial fear of it, it kind of just it's there in everybody. We just have to kind of exercise it, right?
I like that you stick to black. Maybe I'm going to do that next time. It's really about the shape.
I don't always. I sometimes add color to it. It just kind of depends. It just depends on how I'm feeling for the day. But yeah, Carrie's. I always love the look of Carrie. She uses a Sharpie and paper, and the feel of hers is always so
Very
fun.
good.
Yeah,
thank you. I do tend. I lean into my strength, which is black and white. So if I'm drawing other stuff, like you can go on my Instagram and I'll do color there. But here it's color or it's black and white. And then if I were live sketchnoting, it would be black and white. And then like whatever one color you give off, I would use that. But I'm pretty much
like aura color,
I guess, or just like if you're wearing an outfit a certain way, I might. But I do, I do. I feel like I don't know. We don't talk about enough. Like when people create, there's a vibe that the one thing I love about sketchnoting, as much as I love drawing, is I love the vibe I get to connect with people. It's kind of like this secret thing that I think they give off. And for me, it's just, sometimes it's a color. Yeah.
Well, now I want to know what would my color be?
So I used orange and I actually embraced that. And so reading through your stuff, I always go with the color that I'm feeling when I'm reading through your research, and orange was the color that struck me when I was reading through your research. I can't tell you why. I don't know, but I always use the color that connects with me when I do the little intro drawing. And so orange was the color I picked. So I'm
going to start thinking about colors when I'm interacting with meeting people. That's a new perspective. Yeah.
For me, it was the aqua. I love the background on your professional photographs that you had. That aqua, I was like that really pops. That made the most connection to me with you.
Thanks.
And I almost went with aqua. So it was actually between the two. Those were the two colors that but for some reason I was feeling orange today. So
I like it. I like it a lot.
So
You're
fun.
very good. Very good.
Thank you so much, Katie, for being here with us. And friends, if you were here with us and you drew along with us, please snap a picture of your doodle and chat and share it out on your favorite social media platform using hashtag Doodle and Chat so we can share with everybody all the fun that we have here every morning at 9:30, not every morning, every Saturday morning. That would be a never, wouldn't it? Every Saturday morning at 9:33 Central Standard Time. And then we'll see you back here next Saturday for just one of our OG Doodle and Chats where we pull from the bowl that knows and draw whatever the bowl gives us.
have a great week, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.